Hello and welcome to Ruckosaurus Rex, the channel where we review and discuss all things dinosaur and other prehistoric animals. How you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. You see what we got going on. We're going to get right into it. We have another offering from PNSO, another theropod. I think this is, wow, number 16. I'd have to go back, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think we're like in a row. I'm talking about number 16. I think if I'm off, it isn't by much. This is number 77. This is Dayong, the Yangchuanosaurus Changuensis, and I make mention of that second name for a reason, which will be disclosed as we get into it. Like I said, this is number 77, and this marks a milestone with PNSO as they have returned to putting lips on their theropods. I'm sure you can see that on the illustration on the front there. The lips have returned, and here's the crazy thing. The last time we had lips, I believe it was the last time, was with the previous iteration of the Yangchuanosaurus in their museum line. And we'll see that a bit later. And there are other differences to that particular model, species, animal, whatever you want to say. We'll get into it, like I said. Anyway, you see the rendering on the front there, and then of course we have a picture of the Yangchuanosaurus, the close-up of the head, and then on the flip side we have it again. Of course, on the side we've got you see what we got going on there, and that's let's get it so we can at least see it. That'll do it as far as that is concerned. We have other things, if you will, that come with the model. Of course, with the theropods, we get the acrylic stand that helps any bipedal model stand because they will warp over time. Trust and believe that will happen. We also get the accompanied booklet, as I show it here, if I can get it in my hands correctly. And as always, you know, information, illustrations, and all kinds of goodness. See that right there? This is this booklet, or these booklets are included with every model that PNSO comes out with. And finally, last but not least, we get a poster. Most of the time, recently, we've been getting posters of the model with, you know, diorama-style art. This time, we actually get true artwork of Yangchuanosaurus. This particular portrait, if you will, has got the animals looking kind of monstrous right there. So, yeah, that's what we have going on. And here we have the main event, our Yangchuanosaurus Changuensis. Once again, I'm emphasizing that, and you'll know momentarily why I'm doing that. In all its glory, you can see the figure. It's very nice. It's, of course, rocking the typical PNSO browns. They are the masters of probably every shade of brown in the color spectrum, I'm telling you. It doesn't bother me per se. It is getting monotonous. I have to admit that. But having said that, I mean, the only other thing I could think of them going to would be greens, and then, you know, try to conquer every shade in the green spectrum. Maybe some dullish grays or something like that. But, I mean, if you're trying to be realistic, there isn't very many colors when it comes to reptiles that you're going to really have access to. So, having said that, you know, it is what it is. You know, that when you get a PNSO model, it's going to be brown in some kind of way, so you accept that, and what you concentrate on is how do they portray and display that brown. And in this case, it looks very, very nice. It's the base is like an orange kind of brown, and you've got some darker browns in there, and then you have some cream color going down in there somewhere in the underbelly and the underside of the tail and what have you. We'll check all that out when we get close up, and we will get close up because, like I said, we've got the return of lips. First things first, let's take a measurement of our Yangchuanosaurus, and from snout to tail tip, we're talking about just under 9 inches, probably something like 8.8 or something like that. You do your calculations. This translates to representing a 26-foot long animal, just under 26 feet. And now it comes time for why I mention the surname as well as the primary name, Yangchuanosaurus, because this particular species of Yangchuanosaurus, and as far as we know there are 2 of them, was the smaller of the 2, and it was estimated to be about 26 feet in length, which makes this smack dab in the 135 scale if you are actually going by this species, and it is so named, Yangchuanosaurus Yangchuanosaurus. So it's supposed to represent that. I bring that up is because this is decidedly smaller than the previous iteration of our Yangchuanosaurus. It came in a museum line, and the only duo 2-pack, if you will, that PNSO has ever put out in terms of the museum line. And the well, it's not the only one. We've gotten museum lines that have included hatchlings or juveniles, infants of the whatever the species was represented with that particular product at the time. But the Yangchuanosaurus was the only time we actually got a predator and prey 2-pack, and the prey was the Yangchuanosaurus. And it was a pretty nice 2-pack, and that Yangchuanosaurus was, like I said, decidedly larger. We will compare them momentarily. And now we've got our Yangchuanosaurus up close, and you can see the lips on this critter for sure. Like I said, the return of lips. And in case you were wondering if this is a one-off, wonder no more, because PNSO has already announced the Saurophagonax, and we have seen, it's been confirmed, it has lips as well. So I believe lips are here to stay. So those of you that were on the side of the fence that represented lips, well, you're getting your way. Now the question is, will we have to revisit every theropod that has come into being lipless and get redos, or are we cool as is? I'm quite sure we're going to get another Tyrannosaurus Rex that has lips now that this has happened, which is crazy considering how they just put out, I want to say, 5 Tyrannosaurs back to back to back to back to back. Crazy. So, I think we're going to, we will see a Tyrannosaurus Rex with lips, definitely, at some point down the line. Anyway, looking at our Yangchuanosaurus, we've got the browns as always, but you can see that it's, once again, if you look at the fenestra, it's pretty light there. We've got some colors there at the crest, on the top there. I'm losing it. There we go. And we've got colors there. It's kind of like a caramel kind of brown at the top there. In the viewfinder, it's looking a little reddish, but I can assure you it isn't red for sure. Looking at the eyes are basically orange with black pupils. You see that you've got scalation there, and it gets darker there at the snout. both the upper and lower jaw, and the lower jaw also has some cream color going on. As always with theropods, we have jaw articulation, and as you can see there, one thing about the jaw, it's slightly, the word escapes me, but if you look at the bottom, the bottom jaw is slightly further out than the upper jaw, and that shouldn't be the case. The only time it really should be apparent would be in a Giganotosaurus, if I'm not mistaken. They're that way, and that's how they're supposed to be. That would be correct. But anyway, you could see that we've got nice, as always, the mouth is just gray. PNSO is doing a thing, as they always do with the scopes in the mouth. Turn at the right angle, and you could see the nasal, oh, I just went off camera, the nasal passageways and stuff like that. We've got the teeth, and very, very nice. I'll close the jaw again, because now it's time for our straight on look. Now this is a Yangchuanosaurus. It's part of the Metriacanthosauridae, closely related to Allosaurus, Torvosaurus, things of that nature for sure. What else we got there? You go down, you see those browns. They're looking, like I said, in the camera, they're looking a little bit darker than what I'm seeing in person. So, but it looks nice. You've got tan striping. If you look at the top, you've got the nice spines going down there along the back. And I'll give you that up view, and you see it's dark, and the striping goes down on either side. And then as they get lower, they start to lighten up. And then when you get to the underbelly, kind of like a cream color there, you see the nice, strong, powerful forelimbs with the 3 claws. The claws are painted black, and like I said, very nice. You can see that it did have some powerful forearms. And then as far as the rear legs are concerned, that left leg, he's pushing off. The foot, you can see, is it raising up. Look at that bulging calf, pretty cool. When you look at the front, the rear claws painted black as well. And you see the change in color once you get past the calf. Then the tail is basically, it's got that cream color, and then you still have the striping going down, darker, and then it's surrounded by lighter, like caramel or beige type of coloration, until it goes all the way down. I just went out of camera again. Please forgive me, guys. And out of focus. We're back in focus. There we go. And all the way down, and you see it ends in rings. Those stripings end in rings at the bottom, all the way to the tip, and the tip ends in a darker color of brown. And then, of course, the other side, as we just go and rinse, repeat. And that is our Yangchuanosaurus. Here's the first version of Dayong, the Yangchuanosaurus, and you can see that it does look decidedly different than our current version of him. And now you can see them together, and not only do they look different, you can see the difference in size. And like I said, the original Yangchuanosaurus, the original Dayong, is much larger. Now, that was for a reason, because the original, and I can't, don't quote me on it. I'm just assuming, because it is 1/35th scale. So, like I said earlier, there are 2 species of Yangchuanosaurus, and the one we're reviewing today is the Shangyuensis version, and the previous one, the bigger one, was Yangchuanosaurus magnus. You all know what that magnus stands for. Now, the difference between the 2 of them, obviously, talking about size, as I stated previously, the Shangyuensis is was estimated to be about 26 feet long, and the Magnus, which was definitely the largest predator in its ecosystem, was purported to be about 35, 36 feet long, and that translates right here. So if you have the first version, this is the museum line version. It's not oversized. It's just another species, a bigger species of Yangchuanosaurus. And now here we have our Yangchuanosaurus with the closely related Allosaurus. And speaking of Allosaurus, I should mention that the Yangchuanosaurus, which is a Chinese dinosaur, lived at the end of the Jurassic and actually bled on over into the early Cretaceous. And you know, we have to continue on with the theropod level when we do our comparisons. Tyrannosaurus Rex has to make the scene. This go round, we have got Cameron, and yep, quite the size difference there. Now it's time for some herbivores, contemporaries, animals that lived with Yangchuanosaurus. And first up is Chungkingosaurus. This is the second half of the two-pack that the original Yangchuanosaurus came in to make a nice diorama. It's on the base that came with both of these models. And these two beasts definitely ran into one another. And Chungkingosaurus wasn't the only stegosaur that Yangchuanosaurus actually existed with. I believe this stegosaur came before Chungkingosaurus. It was definitely a Jurassic animal. This is the Tujangosaurus, and this is also by PNSO. I can tell you right now that it is oversized. It is definitely not 1/35 scale. They were all over the place with this one. If you were to do the calculations and try to go with the 1/35 scale MO, this would represent a 27-foot long animal. And quite frankly, Tujangosaurus only grew to about 21 feet as far as we know. They still look good together, but I can tell you right now that this species of Yangchuanosaurus ain't doing anything with a stegosaur this size. You got to leave that to Mr. Magnus. And finally, we have PNSO's Mamenchisaurus. Now, even though this looks nice and large, especially compared to Dayong here, this is also out of scale. This is like a 1/40th scale. That's what they were doing, meaning PNSO, and most of the companies that make prehistoric animals, when it comes to sauropods, by their very size, they're victims. And until recently, we've begun getting sauropods and the larger ones at the 1/35th scale. We got a couple that were, smaller sauropods, which is relatively speaking, because 50-footer is not small by any stretch of the imagination, but easier to handle and to make a 1/35th scale version of it. Mamenchisaurus is decidedly larger, and but the way how they are going now, these companies, we've seen apatosaurs and we've seen Diplodocus, all 70 and 90 plus footers. So we may see a 3.0 of Mamenchisaurus, and I believe there's talk of a titanosaur, a legitimately sized titanosaur, coming down the pike. I don't know exactly which one, but one of the species that is hitting about 100 feet. So that'll be cool. And to close out the review, I figured I'd give a little group shot, something I normally don't do, but why not? I've got them all out, so may as well get it in. Very nice there. So you see some of the animals that lived alongside Yangchuanosaurus. As far as the model is concerned, this 2.0 version of Dayong, very nice. This it may be considered a 2.0 version. Both the first one and this one share the same name, Dayong, but they're definitely different species, and it is reflected in their size and in their appearance. This is the Yangchuanosaurus, and the previous species that we shown before is Magnus, and they're definitely different sizes, and they existed in different regions, I'm quite sure, but they did exist, and yeah, they were closely related to the Allosaurus, and the Magnus version was around the same size as the Allosaurus, so definitely the largest predator in its ecosystem. This version was, if it was the largest predator, they didn't have very many large predators, since this version grew to about 26 feet, but pretty good enough in terms of the Mamenchisaurus. Just like with most sauropods, it takes a gang or a pack of theropods to take a full-grown one down. If anything, they'd hunt the juveniles or the sick, the weak or old, and handle that, or just get busy on deceased animals of this size. But I could tell you that even Yangchuanosaurus magnus isn't taking down a Mamenchisaurus on its own. Definitely is going to need help. And speaking of needing help, I'm going to need help as well. I need help with you guys liking the video, sharing the video, subscribing to the channel, leaving your comments below. What do you think of Yangchuanosaurus and the channel itself? Tell me what you think of the model. What are you, any thoughts on the review? Any thoughts on the channel itself? Tell me what you would like to see. Give your critiques, your comments, your questions, your concerns. If you want to be notified the next time I upload a video, hit that notification bell, and notified you shall be. So that'll do it this go around, guys. Thanks for rocking with me, and until next time, take care.